Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live stream, 7:45 p.m. A later than usual start this evening. The 26th of August it is also, and looking at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here today in Spain. Plenty of news around, some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times by viewers, and we'll also go into the chat section that I have on the screen here and check out what is happening in the chat section among the viewers this evening who are watching. So if that is your case, say hello in the live chat. Now, we'll get straight into the news. And some bad news as far as arson is concerned here in Spain, because 48 people have been arrested in the country over wildfires since June. The Spanish Interior Ministry confirmed on Tuesday that 48 people have been arrested for their alleged role in starting wildfires since June, with a further 134 under investigation. The figures were presented at a meeting of the State Coordination Committee against wildfires. The Civil Guard carried out the majority of the arrests, detaining 36 individuals and investigating 110 others. Meanwhile, the National Police arrested 12 suspects and are investigating 24 more. Among the detainees is a resident of Toques in A Coruña, accused of deliberately starting a wildfire on the 19th of August in Melide, also in the Galician province. Authorities continue to warn of the human factor in many of the summer blazes, whether through negligence or deliberate action, as Spain battles one of its worst wildfire seasons in decades. So that, unfortunately, what we are dealing with here currently as far as a lot of these fires are concerned. I'm not going to say all of the fires, because as we know, thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of hectares have been burnt, but 48 people arrested and 100 or so more under investigation for starting fires. For whatever reason, I've got no idea. I think we'll have to wait until it goes through the court process to understand exactly why people do this, whether there's some type of personal gain here, whether it's a deliberate act for no reason at all, just to get their kicks, as they say. I've got no idea, but a shame that we've got these people amongst us that are deliberately starting fires that create not only damage to people's properties and livelihoods, but also affect people's lives and can take people's lives as well, the seriousness of these fires. So a shame that these people are living among us. Second piece of news here, and the Spanish government has declared disaster zones and announces aid after wildfires. The Spanish government has approved the declaration of zones seriously affected by civil protection emergencies, previously known as disaster zones, in response to the devastating wildfires that have burned over 400,000 hectares across the country this summer. The measure, agreed at the first cabinet meeting after the summer recess, covers 16 autonomous communities, with only the Basque Country, Ceuta and Melilla excluded. The declaration will centralise and speed up financial aid, tax exemptions and reconstruction support for affected regions. Ahead of the decision, the Interministerial Commission on Climate Change, led by Ecological Transition Minister Sara Agassen and Interior Minister Fernando Grande Marlaska, began work on a state pact against the climate emergency, first announced by Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Ministers will also appear before the Senate to discuss wildfire management, beginning with Defence Minister Margarita Robles. So, disaster zones declared in the areas affected by the fires, and the objective, as we can see there, is to speed up aid to people affected. And as we have seen in recent times, sometimes that aid is slow to get through to the people that need it the most. People that were affected by the Dana late last year still complaining that a lot of the money has not come through yet. So we'll see if the Spanish government pulls the proverbial finger out of its where and gets the money through to the people that need it so that they can rebuild their lives, which, as we have seen, have been destroyed by these rampant wildfires. 400,000 hectares burnt over the last few weeks. So as I said, we'll see if this emergency declaration speeds up the money that people need to get their hands on quickly. Third piece of news here, and the Spanish royal family are to visit fire-hit regions in Castilla y León, Galicia and Extremadura. King Felipe VI and Queen Letizia will this week tour the areas worst affected by Spain's recent wildfires. The royal visit aims to assess the damage firsthand, listen to residents and express gratitude to emergency teams who fought the flames. The itinerary begins Wednesday in Zamora with a visit to the Sanabria Lake Natural Park in Galende, followed by a stop at Las Médulas in León, with an expected arrival in Carucedo before 3 p.m. On Thursday, the monarchs will travel to several towns in Galicia, and on Friday they will conclude their visit in fire-hit areas of Extremadura. According to the Casa Real and the regional government, the purpose of the trip is both symbolic and practical, to demonstrate solidarity with affected communities, while highlighting the importance of the efforts made to safeguard people and minimize destruction during Spain's most severe wildfire season in decades. So good to see the royal family getting out and about, visiting these areas here. Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez did this last week. He hit the road in those affected areas to show support, of course, and also assess the damage. And now the royal couple, the King and Queen, also heading to those affected areas. As we saw there, symbolic mainly, but also practical as well, to demonstrate the solidarity that the royal family is with the people that have had their lives destroyed. So you can believe that or not, but that's what's happening as far as the royal family and their visit to that part of the country is concerned, starting either today or tomorrow. Can't remember. Today or tomorrow, beginning Wednesday. There we go. So beginning Wednesday, tomorrow in Zamora, in the Sanabria National Park. And I will say that is one of the most beautiful parts of the country. If you have not visited the Puebla de Sanabria, which is a village there in that area, and also the lake of the same name, the Sanabria Lake, do yourself a favor and visit that part of the country. Maybe not so attractive now after the wildfires, but give it a couple of years, I'm sure, or even head there in a couple of months to show support to the people that have had their livelihoods destroyed. And the tourism industry has taken a great hit as a result of these fires in that part of the country, especially the rural tourism industry that depends on that summer period to get people to visit a lot of these small towns around that part of the country that depend on the tourism dollar, of course. And the fourth piece of news, a strange and sad piece of news, because a clandestine zoo with 150 exotic animals has been dismantled in Castellón. Spain's Guardia Civil has dismantled a clandestine zoo in Nules, Castellón, uncovering more than 150 exotic animals from 56 species across 5 continents. 2 men, aged 30 and 35, are under investigation for wildlife trafficking and smuggling of protected species. The operation began after agents detected social media adverts offering protected animals for sale, including Asian otters, kinkajous, and agoutis, I think is the pronunciation there. Investigators traced the adverts to a property in Nules where they discovered enclosures matching those shown online. Among the seized animals were highly endangered species such as 2 ring-tailed lemurs, 2 Asian otters, and a critically endangered Bali starling, of which fewer than 100 remain in the wild. Authorities also found a zebra, several toucans, crown cranes, macaws, surrogates, ibises, and a dromedary, among others. 2 stolen macaws, previously reported missing in Almeria, were also recovered. So again, that is what we are dealing with in some parts of Spain. people setting up clandestine zoos with 150 exotic animals and posting on social media these animals for sale and trying to do business, obviously, and buying or stealing animals because somebody got two birds stolen in Alameda. So if you are the owner of those birds, you'll get them back. But yes, that is what we are dealing with here. Two individuals, 30 and 35 years of age, thinking that it would be a good idea to have 150 exotic animals, some rare species. For example, the Bali bird that we saw there. What was it called? The Bali starling. Only 100 of them out in the wild currently. The rest are in captivity. And one found in Castellon. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with. Comments that have been left on the channel in recent times we'll take a look at now. Starting with this one here from Kenneth. We have just returned from Galicia and we're not far from Ourense. On our way back to our home on the Costa Blanca, we passed along the area where these awful fires were. The motorway was down to one lane. Everything was black and smoke hung in the valleys. Awful smell, and so sad to see the devastation of the forests. Hats off to those firefighters. Thanks, Kenneth, for the comment there, heading to cooler parts of the country, obviously, during the hot month of August. But this year, tragedy striking that part of the country with those serious wildfires. And, of course, Kenneth there on their way back to the Costa Blanca, having to go through the affected areas, the smoke hanging in the valleys, as we saw there, motorways affected, and just the general bad sensation. Somebody sent me an email earlier this afternoon, or recently this afternoon, saying that they're in the Ourense area and there's literally ash falling from the sky, and that smell of that burnt smell that you get after these serious wildfires still hanging in the air also. So good to see that Kenneth and company made it back to the Costa Blanca, and yeah, we'll see if they decide to go back again next year. But I don't think we'll have the same problems regarding wildfires next year because there won't be anything left there to burn, basically. One here from Mellow Yellow. These fires in northern Spain are devastating for the local inhabitants, the wildlife and tourism. The local firefighters and other emergency personnel deserve a lot of credit and support. If only the politicians did their jobs equally well. Thanks for keeping us updated. Spain Speaks is definitely the best English language podcast for up-to-date information on Spain on YouTube. Muchas, I should say that correctly. Muchas gracias, not muchas gracias. Thanks, Mellow Yellow, for the comment there. Glad you like the content. And yes, if only the politicians did their jobs and weren't arguing all the time as to who should have done this, who should have done that, whose responsibility is this, whose responsibility is that. It's yours, it's yours. That's what we get, unfortunately. And as also mentioned here, the local firefighters and other emergency personnel do deserve credit and support, of course. People are postponing their holidays, risking their lives trying to put out these fires, or try to contain the fires, I should say, because often difficult to put out, but trying to contain the fires and save villages, save human life, save animal life. It's a tough job, so our hats off to them. And yes, devastating for the local economies there. And as I mentioned before, the tourism industry, which depends on the month of August, late July, month of August, for a lot of the yearly incomes that will come into that part of the country, because once the winter months hit, not too many people visiting that part of the country. So summer months, very, very important. Another comment here from Richard. Hi, Stu. As most politicians are career-oriented, should there be a qualified entry system such as the civil servants have to pass? Would that improve the education standards? Thanks, Richard, for the comment. A lot of politicians, especially people that get to the position of minister, a lot of the times are high-ranking civil servants, and even getting to the position of Prime Minister. For example, I think Mr. Aznar back in the day was some type of tax inspector. Rajoy was a high-level funcionario, civil servant, and I don't know about Zapatero or Pedro Sanchez, but at least I think they went to university. Don't quote me on that. So a lot of these high-ranking politicians are from the civil service, so obviously they have some academic credentials as far as that is concerned, but the gloves come off when they get into the parliament, and they seem to forget all of the, what's the word I'm looking for here, forget their manners, let's say. And so a lot of them do have the qualifications, Richard. I mean, we're not thinking that people are just coming straight out of high school into the political parties. There is some type of formación, as they say in Spanish there, some type of training. But as I said, sometimes it gets lost when they get into those pressure jobs of being politicians and having to fend off a lot of allegations, a lot of potential problems. It gets difficult for them, I understand, but they should be able to act accordingly, I think, as educated adults in an educated situation. That's what we need to hope for. Thanks for that. Another one here from Lee. Corruption and mismanagement is still endemic at every level of government in Spain. The waste, mismanagement and lack of transparency is depressing. We local ratepayers are powerless bystanders. Voting to change administrations achieves little change or improvement. Thanks, Lee, for the comment, and I would agree with a lot of things that you have mentioned there, especially when it comes to the lack of transparency. This is one of the least transparent systems that you will ever come across. Things happen here, and citizens never find out about them. Firstly, because they're not interested, and in other cases because it's just too complicated to get access to a lot of the information. And that's what we're dealing with a lot of the times. Ratepayers are powerless bystanders. Voting to change administrations achieves nothing. Yep, it's just the same things happening over and over again with a different face, with a different name, with a different political party behind them. But the system is the system, and it's all part of that, I suppose. And yep, difficult to get change. Don't think it's only unique to Spain. It happens in other countries as well. But here, transparency is the big issue. And if you don't believe me, look at the former king, the one who now lives in Abu Dhabi, and to know what he was getting up to behind the scenes because of no transparency. Nobody knew what was happening, what was going on, and we saw the result of that. And now living, as I said, in Abu Dhabi, probably until the day that he dies. Unless he dies when he comes back for one of those sailing regattas that he takes part in Galicia, which he comes back 3 or 4 times a year for that. But apart from that, Abu Dhabi. Another one here from Michael. So that means if the UK or any other residents fly to Gibraltar, they have a carte blanche access to the Schengen area of Europe, which I do not do if I fly from the UK to, say, Faro. Thanks, Michael. Good question there, because we saw that the Gibraltar airport came into the news yesterday, or Gibraltar, I think, in general, because they're talking about getting rid of the fence, which has been up for a long time down there, separating the two is Gibraltar a country, separating the two areas, let's say, Spain and Gibraltar, and of course border controls, passport controls, and all of those things. And the airport was on the British side, but of course that was part of the agreement. And I think, as somebody pointed out in a reply comment to Michael's comment there, the airport will now become a Schengen airport. So if you are coming into the Gibraltar airport, it will be like arriving in Faro, for example, in Portugal, or in Malaga, or in other airports around the country that have international flights from places like the UK. So that would be the logical thing. So you fly into Gibraltar, and maybe if you're living in Cadiz, or you want to visit parts of Cadiz, instead of going to Malaga or Jerez, where there is another airport, you fly into Gibraltar, and you're in the Schengen zone. And if you've got your passport and visas, if you need a visa to go into the Schengen area, not my case, of course, because I'm a resident of the Schengen area, but people outside the Schengen area might need a visa. If it's not in play already, it soon will be. Visas for the Schengen area, and that's what you have to do. So, yeah, it will become a Schengen zone airport, I believe, or at least that's what the comment said. And the final one here from Ramon, interesting video and thanks for posting it. My wife and I are considering Spain as our retirement country. Started watching your channel several years ago and we have learned a lot since then. Keep the videos coming. Thank you very much for that, Ramon or Raymond. However you pronounce your name, obviously in Spanish it would be Ramon. And considering a move to Spain, was the area mentioned there? No, but just considering retirement to Spain, which many people have done in the past and many people are considering nowadays. They want to get out of certain countries because they don't like the way things are happening. There was an article in the paper the other day about how people have moved here in recent times from the United States because they're not in agreement with what's happening politically in that country. So they're moving to countries like Spain or Portugal or wherever. And Ramon considering it. Obviously, there's some Spanish background there, so that could be the reason too. But thanks for watching, Ramon, and glad that you like it, and also that you have picked up a few, or picked up information, let's say, over the years by watching the videos. That's the objective at the end of the day. The main objective is that. Now, into the live chat I'm going to go. Before I get there, I need to change the backdrop picture on the screen now. And this photo was sent in by Jane and Pete, who were recently traveling around Spain. I think regular visitors to the country they are, visiting relatives and the like. And the photo is of Pamplona, famous for the Running of the Bulls festival there in the north of the country, and a lovely picture of the greenery in that part of Spain, the city of Pamplona. Thanks very much, guys, for sending that picture through. If you've got a similar one that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email address is on the screen now, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send your photos through to that email address, or any other information that you would like to send my way. As I said, people send me emails telling me about their situations in Spain, especially nowadays with all of the things that are going on with the danas, with the fires, with all of the heat waves that we've been having. Lots of people sending me through information from local press outlets in their part of the country. Erica, for example, regular viewer, quite often sends me emails with links to articles. So feel free to do that. The email address there on the screen, spainspeaks@gmail.com. I'm also going to put the like icon on the screen. If you haven't hit the like icon yet, please consider doing so. Below the video you will find it if you're watching on a computer, or if you're watching on a television, which now 49% of viewers are watching on television. So if that is your case, you might need to go into the settings there on the YouTube app to find the like icon, but do us a favor and make the effort, please. Also, people that have supported the channel in recent times, I'll just get that one on the screen. There we go. People that have given me a super thanks or a super chat during the live streams, always greatly appreciated. People that have bought me a coffee. Longer term supporters on Patreon. For example, person that bought me a coffee yesterday. Let me see if I can find it here quickly. Who was it there? If I can find it, let me see. Maybe I can't. But in any case, I will say thank you very much for sending me that coffee. Oh, here we go. Somebody. So no name associated with that one. So an anonymous coffee buyer there. But I think there was another one as well. I think it was from Stanley. Oh no, Ian bought me a coffee. There we go. Ian bought me a coffee as well. I think I mentioned that one the other day. And so Chuck Chuck bought me a coffee. There we go. I finally found found the email of the coffee supporter there. Thank you very much for that. And also the regular members here on the YouTube channel, people that have joined the channel over the last year or so, thank you very much for that support also. Now, into the chat. Let's open it up. I don't think there's anything else that I need to do. Let's see what's bubbling away in the chat. Let me scroll up to the top. Looks as though it's a short chat again today. So people must be a bit shy in recent times to say something in the chat. What's going on? So Barbara is the first person that I can see here. 30 degrees in the Playa Flamenca. Hot and humid there. It was supposed to be 30. So we don't know the exact temperature there, but we'll take Barbara's word that it was close to 30. Andrew coming in as well. As said your last program, many arsonists arrested in Galicia, but I don't think any changes yet. Getting hot again in Amarinha. Yes, Galicia, Andrew, has had its fair share of arsonists, sometimes living in these small villages there. And as I said, the reasons, is it a personal thing? You've got a thing against maybe a neighbor, you want to set their lands on fire, maybe there's some type of financial gain for it. Again, just don't have the answers as to why these things happen. Is it mental illness? Maybe. It could be. I don't know. Janet coming in from Oxford. Valued member is Janet. Thank you very much for that, Janet. Good to see you. John coming in from Zante, Greece. Have a great week. Thanks, John. Enjoy your time in Greece. Sunny, currently in... Sunny's in Basingstoke, I think. But looking forward to taking her grandson back to Paiporta and staying for 10 days. There we go. Sunny has family living in that Dana hit area last year. Paiporta, which was the ground zero of a lot of the damage there. So let us know how things are going there, Sani. Are things getting back to normal? James, good evening, Stuart and everyone. James and Kathy coming in from a mild and windy Worcester in the United Kingdom. Just completed a fish pond refurbishment today. Took 3 days to complete. Good for you guys there, finishing the refurbishment of the fish pond. What species are in the pond? Maybe some exotic species, I don't know. Al in the chat, Tio Al. Buenas, Stu and mis amigos. Currently 24, but being that Southern California is a coastal desert, it cools to 17 degrees at night for exceptionally cool sleep. Sorry. Thanks for that, Al. Good to see you getting a good night's sleep there. Unlike here, where it's very warm at night, still inside the house, cooler outdoors. But the houses get quite warm during the day, of course, with the mid-30s temperatures. Renon's in the chat as well. Hello, Stu and everyone. Ian is in the chat as well. A lad, is that, or a last fire brands are being arrested. It's one of the most antisocial things one could do. Seems to be a worldwide issue. Yes, worldwide issue. Nothing is unique to Spain, as we know. It happens everywhere. Unfortunately, it's the human element. Amanda's in the chat here. Hello, all. And to Amanda's friends there, Al, Barbara, James, and all. Sorry there. Brad, hola, Stuart. Thanks, Brad. Good to see you. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look. A few salutations going out to Amanda there. We've got Gold Geologist here watching from San Antonio, Texas. We've got Rico from Seattle, Washington, USA, traveling to Seville next week. Hope all goes well with that trip, Rico. Catching the train, no doubt, to Seville from Madrid, I would say. Hopefully there won't be any issues with the train next week. You never know. You never know. Gold Geologist saying here, that's a serious number of people starting wildfires. I am shocked, as many people are, Gold. Many people shocked with the news that we're getting on a daily basis about these arsonists and their attacks on the Spanish landscape. Marianne saying that it's truly disturbing that arson has been the cause of such extensive destruction. I'm listening from Southern California. Thanks, Marianne. Hope all is well where you are. Yes, truly disturbing. Good way to report that there. Truly disturbing that we have these people living amongst us. Living amongst us. Fortunately, where I am here, we haven't had a fire this. I think there might have been one down by the lake area where I ride my bicycle. But it was quickly put out by the fireys. And the cause of that fire, I don't know. I didn't read anything in the local press. But if you guys see some of the videos I do when I walk around, you'll see that the landscape is very, very brown, very high weeds. And if a fire were to go through there, I reckon it would go through fairly quickly. But fortunately, the fire bugs haven't been active in this part of the country. Andres coming in from a roasting LA County, California. Valued member 2 is Andres. Good to see you, Andres. Long time. Gino heading to Spain tomorrow with partner Isabella, I think. Back to Javier and Toledo. Thanks, Gino. Send us a photo when you get back. Always good photos from you guys. I'll be waiting for it or them. Larry coming in from Tazacorte in La Palma, Canarias. Sunny and 30 degrees Celsius there. Thanks, Larry. Good to see you. Regular viewer Kev's in the chat. Coming in from Matheron. Cooler there now. 33, 34 max. Cooler, Kev. Still crazily humid there, though. Better than grey and rain, though. Kev moving from the UK, I think, in the last couple of years. Kev to that part of the world, right? Enjoying the warmer temperatures and not the grey and dull skies that you sometimes get at this time of year in the United Kingdom. Although this year's been different, as we have seen. Quite warm temperatures there this year. Brad's, we saw Brad before. Andalusia having a cooler August this year. There we go. You guys are lucky. Cooler August this year there. Al saying that California uses prison inmates to fight wildfires. I don't think they do that here, Al. I think it's volunteers. I don't think they open the prison doors and get people out on the chain gangs putting out the fires. At least I haven't heard of that happening. Probably prisoners have too many rights here. Could be. But anyway, now what else we got going on here? Larry's saying a few years ago, there was a very serious fire in the northwest of La Palma. Although not a case of arson, it was started by a group of irresponsible yobs who were having a party in the woods while prohibited. Yes, that's also a cause of many fires, irresponsible activities or negligence, as they call it here. For example, going into a wooded area or a forest area and having a party maybe, and maybe lighting a fire. Don't know, but yobs. Good word, the yobs. In Australia, we say yobos, but we get the idea, right? We get the idea. Stephen coming in from cloudy but still comfortable North London, getting a bit like autumn of an evening there. There we go. So the autumn coming down on the UK soon. YouTubers coming in from Torrevieja. I don't know... I know you don't like authoritarianism. Nobody does. But the Turkish forest ban for the public during the summer months works well, especially when the public are so irresponsible. Yeah, I'm not in favour of this, YouTuber. So I know you've mentioned it a couple of times on the channel here that that's what happens in Turkey. I think obviously the Turkish authorities feel that that is what they need to do. They can't trust the people there, but I would think in Spain that people would be in the majority responsible enough to go into the forest areas in the middle of summer and realize that maybe having a barbecue or, even having a gas barbecue or something like that isn't a good idea when the surrounding areas are highly flammable. And I haven't heard of any bans, to be honest, but you never know what will happen in the future. You never know. Uncorked in rural Spain, coming in saying hello from the Pyrenees. Just moved here from the United States. So far, we don't have any fires in this area. We've got some rain coming tonight. Hopefully, no lightning. Will be with it. Hopefully, the Pyrenees, unless it's very dry, but the rain should dampen things there. But fingers crossed, because we're not out of the woods yet. Pardon the pun, as far as the fires are concerned. Eric coming in from a muggy Terrassa. Yellow warning there for storms on Thursday. Let's see what happens, and crossing fingers, have a nice week. We should also mention that there is danas on the horizon here in Spain. I think the forecasts were maybe for this week, I think. The Dana, if you're not familiar with the Dana, it's an isolated depression area or something where a heavy downpour is normally the result, and flash flooding and things like that. Of course, the Dana that we saw last year in the Valencian community that took the lives of 220 people. We're hoping that we won't get a repeat of that this year. Bad luck would be if that were the case, but we would like to think that it's not going to be. But with the warm temperatures in the Mediterranean Sea and the colder winds that come down from the mountains, you never know what the weather has in store for us. Antonio's in the chat as well, regular viewer. Hello, Stuart and everyone. As you said, Mariano Rajoy was a top-notch civil servant, property registrar, the youngest ever at 24. It's considered one of the hardest positions in the civil service. Thanks, Antonio. Yes, I remember that when he was removed from the government back in 2017 as that vote of no confidence, or whatever it's called, motion of no confidence, he went back to the same desk, which had been sitting vacant ever since he entered politics. And it was one of those things where I think he had, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think he had the computer still that he had, some 20 years before, sitting on the desk, if he had one at all, because he probably went into politics at a time when computers weren't all that common. But straight back into the position. Hello, Mariano, long time no see. Where have you been? I was Prime Minister there for a while, but got kicked out of that job. Now I'm back. Welcome. The door is always open for the civil servants. Always open. Job for life. Job for life. Stephen coming in from Gibraltar. Flights from Gibraltar go to England airports only. So wonder if that will change after the recent agreement. Good question, Stephen. Maybe there'll be more international flights coming into that airport. Don't know about the capacity there, though. But once it does become a Schengen airport, the possibilities are endless. We'll see. We will see. Stephen's in the chat here too. Overcast today, but humid. Cheers. Thanks for that, Stephen. Red wine glass emoji there. Andre's saying, I've never seen bulldozers and workers with tools cleaning vegetation ahead of fires or building fire breaks. I also don't see large aircraft or super scoopers. Is Spain behind on fire technology? Good question, Andres. I'm sure that some of the things that you mentioned there are in play here. Of course, it all comes down to the resources that are available. I know Portugal, having been there for a while recently, they had a couple of planes that weren't active. They had mechanical problems, I think. So they had to ask third countries for support there. So if you've got planes, aircraft, and they're not maintained well, or there's some type of problem with them, you get caught red-handed when the fires hit. And Spain, of course, there's big debate on at the moment whether there are resources sufficient or not. That's the question that people are asking, and no doubt as a result, more resources will be thrown at this. But the thing with these tragedies like the wildfires that we've seen, they don't happen every year. So, or at least not in the same area every year. So sort of happen in different areas at different times, and maybe every 10 years they'll roll through that same area. So, politicians are probably reluctant to spend on something that doesn't happen every year. Maybe, I don't know. Again, I'll use that expression. I don't know. Just regular goldfish in the pond there. Children of adults taken by heron 5 years ago. All 13 fish happy, plus a surprise baby one. There we go. So the birds came in and took some of the fish. Not good to see. Not good to see. Super chat we have from Andres, $10. Thank you very much, Andres, for your generosity. Very nice of you and appreciated, of course. Antonio saying, Atnar was a top-notch civil servant. Zapatero law, Sanchez business administration weren't exactly brilliant students. Well, we can see that on display every day. They both have university degrees, but not particularly distinguished ones. There we go. But Zapatero's done fairly well for himself, especially with his South American connections. I'm sure that Sanchez, when he leaves politics, will also have those same connections. Eddie's in the chat. Greetings, Stu and all. Lovely to catch the live show. Thanks, Eddie, for that. The inmates are volunteers. They volunteer, so they're not forced. Thanks for clearing that one up, Al. Brad saying that we only use our gas barbecue in the garden, which is, what's that, irrigated? Irrigated, is it? So no risk. There we go. Thanks, Brad, for that. Yes, it's gas barbecue in the garden. I think you probably use in the garden, depending on what your garden's like, of course, but you could probably have a charcoal barbecue in your garden, as long as you've got, nothing that will catch on fire close by. Jane asking, how do they know that someone started a fire? Surely there aren't any witnesses. Well, the Civil Guard investigates, Jane, the cause of the fire. Sometimes suspicious elements are left behind. Sometimes the way the fire started is suspicious. So they investigate. That's their job, the Soprona unit of the Civil Guard. And they find people that are suspicious. And also in those villages, people talk. They know what goes on a lot of the times. Maybe they say, well, the bloke that lives at number 43, bit dodgy. Check him out. And we get our pyromaniacs or our arsonists. Gibraltar Airport only has the one runway which people crossing the border have to cross on foot or by car. There is no way it'll ever be a busy airport unless they did a tunnel under the runway. So there we go, limited capacity for that airport. And Antonio saying, LOL about what you said about Zapatero. You know a lot, Stuart. Yeah, well, I know a lot, Antonio, because I'm constantly talking about these things, and Zapatero always pops up when there's an important negotiation to be had between governments like in Venezuela or Cuba or these countries where Zapatero seems to have made a lot of friends, let's say. Very friendly in that part of the world, I think, Mr. Zapatero, for obvious reasons, I would say. Rise, reflect, renew with Lindsay Jordan. Finally glad that she caught live, or they caught live. Thank you for all that you do to keep us informed. Just moved from Atlanta, Georgia to Valencia. Loving it. Thank you very much for that, Lindsay. And you are the last comment of the day, and glad that you are liking the content and you were able to catch us live. And I hope you are enjoying your time here in Spain, in that part of the world, the Valencian community, which is a very popular destination for people looking to settle in Spain, of course, as we know. And why wouldn't you want to settle in the Valencian community somewhere with the fantastic Mediterranean weather that they have. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been a pleasure. Until the next one, Thursday will be that day. Hope to see you then. Hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, and bye-bye.